Okay, so we just had the CNN town hall. We're going to have 2 days in a row of Democratic town halls. We saw Hillary, we saw Bernie. They each got an hour. Tomorrow's is going to be a little bit shorter, and then that's pretty much all we have leading up to the big elections on Tuesday. So we want to do a quick summary of what we saw there. A couple things stood out to me. You guys feel free to disagree. Incredibly domestic-focused town hall. I believe that the only times that foreign policy were brought up by the candidates, I think. I could be wrong. Maybe there was a question. And it sort of makes sense.
There was one question. It was the woman asking about use of force.
That's true. Okay, yeah, that is true. Oh, yes, so by the audience there. And I think that the Democratic debates and town halls in general have been more focused on domestic policy than the Republican side, but this one especially so. We went really in depth in terms of education, both in terms of Bernie's college plan. Not as much on Hillary's, but also debates about whether charter schools should be a priority. We had some of the topics of police brutality, but then also into private prisons. And so very focused on those sorts of policy areas. I'm not sure to what extent, I know I said earlier that I think that they really play to the benefit of Bernie in terms of the sorts of issues he wants to be talking about. Do you feel like, was that true to any extent with Hillary? Is this the sort of town hall that she wanted to have?
I don't think it was. Did you?
No.
I thought the questioners and everything were very slanted in Bernie's favor.
Really?
Absolutely. Dude, the guy asking her about the death penalty was, a shot between the eyes to her. She looked like a deer in the headlights.
Yeah, but that guy who asked Bernie Sanders, are you going to raise my taxes? He should just lie. And then, about when it comes to, can I just say this about gun control and terrorism? And she says we have to be able to kill terrorists, right? That's her death penalty. Toddlers kill more people in America every year than terrorists do. Toddlers with guns.
Are you supporting execution of toddlers?
Are you supporting execution? So if this is what it's all about, we're scared about being killed, you'd want to kill some toddlers. I mean, it's just crazy, this bullshit thing. So that's what people who are actual progressives, who are actual liberals and are in the Democratic Party, that's what makes us queasy about a Hillary Clinton, is that she's a Republican like that, she's pro death penalty. That is not a progressive fucking position. That's the opposite. That's regressive. That is state kill. They don't even do that in other countries. Anyway, it's just
what it strikes me
that
as
little thing she can't do, John, to a guy sitting there. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It feels to me like, and I understand that we're apparently in the minority. When I say we, I mean me and Jimmy, because I understand you have a different position. We're in the minority here. It feels to me like earlier when I actually cared about debating publicly about religion, so people would say, some atheists say you should have to prove that God is true before you believe it, and they'll say, well, you should have to prove that he's untrue. And my response is, I feel like before I believe something, its validity should be established rather than just believing and then questioning it. And I feel that way with the capital punishment. It's like you have to make the case why we should stop. But I don't feel like the case was ever made why we should begin.
Right.
Like, it's just simply that it exists, and unless a convincing reason is come up with to stop it, it should just continue the way it is, rather than imagine there had never been any capital punishment. We simply locked people up or rehabilitated them, and then someone said, you know what, I think we should actually kill them. That would start a big debate, you would think.
Yeah.
But anyway, we don't have that debate, even on the Democratic side, really, let alone on that.
But you said so you should have to, instead of them, we have the death penalty, so now we have to come up with a good reason.
Yeah.
Well, there was a guy standing there who was just in prison for 30 years, and he was almost killed by the state. If that's not a good reason, I can find that to be a damn great reason. And she still said, sorry. If it was up to me, they'd have killed you. That's what she said. Basically, I'm paraphrasing, but that was what she was saying. Hey, all the words she used around it, the bottom line of what she was saying was, it's a sad story. I feel for you. You'd be dead if it was up to me.
Yeah. And I think that overall, in terms of the strategy of the two candidates, so we noticed with the last Republican debate that it seemed like Rubio, Cruz, and Kasich all felt like they're where they need to be, and so they didn't want to rock the boat going into Tuesday. I think that something like that was happening tonight, too. I feel like Bernie, he didn't, as you pointed out, I don't know that he even attacked her. I don't think he pointed out anything about Hillary.
Once.
And that implies that he thinks the polling is good going into Tuesday. And Hillary, she didn't attack Bernie, to her credit, too, in that regard. And so it seems like she played defense a little bit on questions of whether she was liberal enough in the primary in terms of these specific policies. It seemed like both of them are fairly satisfied going into Tuesday. But you never know. I mean, maybe Monday, the day right before, maybe they'll lob some bombs.
I thought she was running for the general election tonight, and that she thinks
Yeah?
she has it all sewn up.
I
They
wouldn't
were
be
all
surprised to
very,
find out that
very
she thinks so.
centrist answers to really anything. Even if it was a kind of leftist progressive question, it was, look, I'm in my heart, I feel for you, but I can't change it.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think she was running for the presidency tonight.
From sources inside of her campaign, Michigan shook them, but she had already sort of started that process before that. She might be pivoting back to that. And again, it could be because the polls in these states on Tuesday do show her with significant leads in a number of states. The idea is that they could be off in the same way that Michigan is, but we don't yet have strong polling data to indicate that it's going to be an amazing day for him. It's just sort of a hunch based on Michigan.